Hello and welcome. It's good to have you join us on the program. I trust you're still keeping those New Year resolutions. I am Jennifer Obidiobubi. Like we promised last week, today we kickstart with our two-part series of Town Hall Special, Best of 2016. From shareholders taking on insurance companies' CEOs on set, to the heated debate on the challenges of data in the insurance industry, and then to the distribution channels of insurance products. These are never-before-seen parts from the Town Hall in 2016. When we say it's a no-holds-barred session, trust us, it's 100%. Enjoy.
Who is responsible for the
rating?
Would you say is responsible for the rating business?
The rating is an element of competition. If you look at
demand and supply.
Yes, it's the forces of market. If you look at it in terms of the assets we are insuring, compared to the assets they are insuring, even in South Africa, we have more assets to insure. But where South Africa we charge 100 naira % for a particular risk, we will be charging 25 kobo.
Why do you people charge that?
It's competition. It's competition. It's competition because somebody will go to him. There is no rate in Nigeria that you cannot bring down. This in Nigeria is only in the industry. Even when the federal government wanted to start the group life scheme, the budget for the group life scheme was something in the neighborhood of 20-something billion naira, which the government has calculated based on advice from actuaries. Now, when they said go to the market and bring rates, one cost insurance company that nobody knows brought the rates down to about 6 billion. And everybody was forced to go on that rate because that was the best rate. So there are challenges.
Okay, Mr. Ajay, I'm still going to come to you. Maybe Mr. Okay, I'm still going to come to you because
I think with due respect, Mr. Ajay, this excuse you're giving to us is not acceptable. Yeah,
you're not here to accept my excuse.
Please.
You're not here to accept my excuse because it's not
allow
a
me. You have been speaking for long.
It's not a union matter.
Please allow me.
Just here
please allow me. Please allow me. Please.
That relates to.
Please allow me.
If you want to talk like a unionist, then we will talk like unionists.
Please allow me. Please allow me.
Please.
Don't interfere on my when I'm talking in the place. No.
Attack my person.
No. I'm not attacking.
Talk about the issue at hand.
Yes, that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing. You see, the problem we have today, like I said earlier, potential. You have given us excuse of example of Okada riders. They have gone to able to get money there. This is why you use the state, apparatus as the one of the shareholder of the company. Say, look, these Okadas are causing more harm to the state. A major city who operated. We want to take this insurance, this motorcycle rider to insure them. Even it's 600 or 500, Go to every local government. The Lagos State will write all the local government. This policy, we have seen it. And it's going to help our people to reduce the risk of all this, accident we have in Lagos State. Go to Almond or whatever, Barega, Shomolu, Koshofo, a whole lot of Okada operated, even when they still restricted them from applying the highway, this express, they're still, defaulting those orders and applying. If you had not seen that business very well, they make a whole lot of money. My brother will tell paper sellers, all this, they have not financed it, There's no gonna ask. I can't patronize you. I have most insurance policy, I take my cars. I do that. But if I'm doing another business risk, that need to insurance, I will go. That's the truth. By the time year ends, I've done it. I renew my car, something in them. If you're dealing with every Okada rider, the insurance will swim with the money. That's the truth. That was said the policy there. And if introduce this good idea to Lagos State government, which I know very well, they will back it up on. Because some of them, like for example today, government has said that every high-rising building should be insured. It is the insurance sector that mostly go to the neck of the government, be on their neck to enforce this. I know they don't have the police to enforce it. That's the truth. But how many of them have made that move? The NICOM will pronounce the star in Abuja. He's not alluding the regulators. They cannot even go against the regulators. That's the truth. But I can speak against them. They don't regulate me. They are regulating them. That's the problem. Every policy the man chunked out there from Abuja, it's not even helping them. It's hurting them. And that's the truth. And they cannot see.
No premium, no cover.
Of course,
First,
no cover. I didn't implement it. Why other insurance companies are paying dividend today? He said I shouldn't compare. I can compare next. And they operate the same market. They operate the same sector. Why are they paying dividend? Why is the share price higher than them? And then those ones are not even apart value. Is it not the same market? Are they operating from heaven? Are they operating from South Africa? They are domiciled here and doing business here. And they are doing very well. So
you cannot talk beyond your level of understanding. And I sympathize with his disappointment. One, why do I need government to legislate for people to buy insurance? Do they legislate for me to take taxi? Do they legislate for me to watch your program? This is a democratic dispensation.
No.
Government cannot legislate for.
Why are you repeating if government made that policy? Why are you repeating from it?
Government cannot legislate
what are you talking about?
Insurance of Okada.
No cover, no premium. Is it not government policy? Why you adhering to it? Why do you adhere to it? It's the government policy, and it's favoring you, and you are repeating from it. You are saying that you cannot buy government policy. What do you mean by that?
When we had Okada policy, it was during the time of Marwa. Okay. And we were using the VIOs to enforce that policy because there was a military edict at that time. But that was a military edict. And at a point in time, you found out that the cost of running around and monitoring was even more than the cost we are making from this something. And then, of course, there was this competitive there was this element of competition from other people. There is no way Lagos State can make a law on insurance for the benefit of LASACO alone. Insurance is in the exclusive legislative list of the federal government, of the Constitution. Only federal government can make a law about it. So if Lagos State says do insurance of Okada, that doesn't mean you have to do with LASACO. You have to do with everybody. And then these people, there was this element of competition that made the whole thing so unpalatable. And at a point, the Marwa had to even stop the VIOs from going out to enforce anything, because it wasn't only insurance they were enforcing at that time. They were overbearing and they complained, and that was how the thing died a natural death. So I only alluded to that to show that it's not that we haven't tried some of these issues. But what we are talking about here today, why you have invited us here today, is to look at the problem of capital adequacy. And all I have come to tell you
whether it's right for you to approach investors to invest in you. That's what I hear. What
I'm telling you here is that the system that NICOM is copying from the European Union is what is called risk-based capital, which will not require injection of capital. It's not the only option that you have. It's not going to involve injection of capital. And I am just trying to educate the viewers that, look, this is the way it's going to happen. And my friend is already agreeing with me because he has actually got the issues that we have talked about. Before, insurance industries were not subjected to capital adequacy tests, but Insurance Act 1961 was the very first one. And we have had problems peculiar to each promulgation, to each enactment. We have had problems that are there. If there are no problems, there will be no inventions. So we have to solve the problems as we go. What we are talking about here is how do we stem the type of frequent increase, not capital adequacy, frequent request for injection of fresh capital. That's the point. That's what I understood you are talking about.
Yes.
And I am saying that the risk-based capital is not all about injection of funds. It's about adequacy at the level you choose to operate.
Okay, going forward,
let me just come in now. Whether we like it or not, Federal Minister of Finance, the Minister of Finance is right. We have even seen it. There's need for Nigerian insurance, those operators to recapitalize their capital base. Otherwise, they will be thrown out of business. The minister has seen that, if they don't shore up their capital base, the business will be taken away from Nigeria. The job opportunity we're talking about will not be created. they will not continue to develop the economy. That's the truth. Because if no business of outside, without residing here, Nigeria will not grow as a nation. And they have seen that. That's what we are talking today, that you need to have told them come and play, and the government are serious that they must apply. It's issue of scaling down my business I'm doing. NICOM will look at that. No.
No,
totally.
What is the essence? What is
because
the
the business
essence?
you want to finance today, you say want to do. Let me tell you, if it's not even the premium they collected, they pay dividend to share. This is investments. Because you can't buy those money idle in the bank. You need to reinvest those money you collected. And this proceed you make that from pay dividend if you have a profit. Except somebody who have made wrong investments.
You see, it's very difficult to argue with this gentleman because his knowledge is warped. It's very tilted to the side he wants to use. He doesn't understand.
Okay, so
some of them, their capital base have been ordered. They cannot remain in business. Remain relevant after today.
As a shareholder, as investor in the insurance industry, how easy will it be for them to come to you guys now to come and get fresh capital?
That's why I'm saying here today, you take a leader, and they're not giving a return to me. I cannot invest on the company.
That is not the issue.
Some of them are there who are the rewarded shareholders. They leave the company market today, and some of them who are not remaining with power value, they will sell. That's the truth. They don't have invest in insurance because they know they have potential. But unfortunately, they have not exploited that potential that is in them. That inheritance, that's the truth.
The issue
some of them
is
are doing
being
very,
looked,
very well.
he's looking at the issues from one perspective. And that
I say we should not discuss
if you
how
need
insurance are being run.
if you need to go into that direction, that is another topic. That's not the topic before. My friend here understands the issue. And is looking at it from a general perspective.
To do well, but some of them are choosing to do well.
The point is here is different from the issue. Is different from the issue. He is insisting that we have to increase our capital. I am not saying it's not true. But that is not the only option. And it is not a question of must. Of course, if you remain small and you are more profitable, he doesn't want to understand what we are talking about. He's just fixed in his position and is looking at the situation the way it was. What is wrong? Now, let's concede without accepting that there are companies that are badly run and they are very small. I mean, they are big, they are trying to be big, and they can't pay dividend. If they now become small and they pay dividend of 1 kobo, is it not better than being big
and not paying at all?
Pretending to be big and not paying at all? He came with a very standard fact that nobody can controvert, that even the capital base in Nigeria, put together, is higher than what obtains in South Africa. Adjust it the way you like. That's a statement of fact. So why do you need to ask a company who is doing business as 3 billion to go and have the same capital requirement as a company doing 25 billion? It's not, that's not right. That leads to overcapitalization and that puts pressure. Maybe if the company doesn't need more than 2 billion naira and is allowed to operate at 2 billion naira, it will have something to pay to shareholders. Some of them have I mean, they have profit, but you can also start a private company of your own. You can also start a private company of your own if you think insurance is that profitable. Then start a private company of your own. This is a freedom of expression. Government says, I mean, this is a free market. If you want to establish an insurance company, you can establish. Why do you want to be public before you put your money? If you think it's that profitable, collect yourself together, let your association start a private one. Don't call anybody and do it. But the point we are talking about, yeah, it is possible. They will only meet the requirements. There is no entry barrier. There is no exit barrier. Anybody can wind up his company. Anybody can come into insurance.
Mr. Jay, you always agree, so you agree. That's the truth, you know.
Yes.
What concern the shareholder they can suffer endlessly in their company.
Well,
Don't concern you.
you see,
They don't show remorse. That's the problem.
What remorse do you have to show? How much do you have in insurance? How much do you have? What remorse? All these shareholders, when they come, when we finish outside the camera, I'm going to deal with him. What do you have? What do you have in insurance? I'm going to deal with you. All of them, every family is a shareholder association. Two boys will come together and form shareholders association. There are recognizable shareholders association. When you see them, you respect them. Not backroom shareholders association like this one. When we finish, I will deal with him.
Challenges of recession data.
Yes.
We need data, accurate data for right pricing, claims history. Oftentimes, I do feel, it's my own opinion as well, that sometimes the elitist insured in Nigeria, they actually take insurance companies for a ride, because I insure with you, and tomorrow I collect claim or I don't collect, I move on to the next company, he's ready to give me rock bottom rate anyway. Mr. Thomas' company will not come to ask Mr. Obin and say, oh, this client has come to me, he was with you or she was with you last year, what's her claim history? And these are data that you readily get in more developed market, like the UK market, for example. So how do we move as an industry? How do we move from where they are now to where they are supposed to be?
Maybe I can cut in here.
Okay. Excuse me, please. I think probably we need to look at what are the factors that really hinders having accurate data in the insurance industry. For example, sorry, I'm using UK as example because I believe that the examples are relevant. For example, you see, in Nigeria, I have not seen any insurance company sponsor research. I have not had. In UK, you have insurance companies sponsoring research.
Yeah.
Now, to undertake research is capital intensive.
Yeah.
But here we don't have. If the fund is not there, you will see you won't be able to do a large scale research. At best, each individual researcher will be working because he didn't have the fund. There's a limit to which he or she can go. Another factor we need to look at is with the traditional insurance companies, we need to be away from our slumber. For example, now if you don't pay claims, for example, you don't encourage people to come and insure with you. But let us make good our promises. That's another area. If we make good our promises, now let's even take, for example, you want to collect some data on insurance. You now say, I'm doing some research on insurance. People look at insurance. They may not even willing to listen to you. But if you're talking about bank research, people will be happy to listen to you. But I tell you, insurance plays a lot of role in developing economy. Now, if people have a bad impression about the industry, we will not be able to get data to be able to work on. Another factor we need to look at is this: our people are too, in insurance, in Nigeria, we are too narrow-minded. For example, ask bankers; they can tell you some other things outside their industry. But in our industry, our people are just insurance alone. When you talk about something else, they switch off. They don't want to hear. And the point is, if you don't try to widen your horizon, for example, you might not be able to have an idea of how they work, other industry operate, and you can bring it to your industry. So these are some of the factors we need to look at. Another factor we should look at is this. Now, if we talk about collecting data, in UK, for example, if a company has a prospective client and he has filled the proposal and say, well, I have insured with this company before, there was no claim. You go to work to the insurance company and tell them, I'm from this insurance company, ask for the data, they will give you. That this company, they didn't insure it, they will tell you the year you insured. If you have a claim, they will tell you the claim. If it was paid, they will tell you it was paid. But here in insurance in Nigeria, go to a company and say, company A, we had a client insured with you before, he said this and that. Could you please confirm this? You will be surprised that insurance company in Nigeria will not be willing to give you the information. Now, come to think of it, it's not as if you are coming to start a business now. The client has given you the business, but you just need information to be able to prove that what you committed on the proposal from, they are genuine information. But yet, we are not willing to give information which will help our industry. So you can see, we in a way, in our market, there is no healthy competition. In UK, for example, they encourage competition because you have variety of products, not just like the normal policy fire theft. I'll give you an example. While working in UK market, a person wanted to talk about life policy, and they said, well, we can give you as addendum to your life policy some benefit on your motor insurance. Wow. And the person was impressed. Now in UK, for example, you could have like a no claim discount up to 90%. But in Nigeria, what we have been using since many years is the same thing we are using. It means, are we progressing or are we not progressing? So we need to progress. So if we are just straight jacket, what we have been doing 1960 to date, we are not improving. Look at bank industry, for example. There have been a lot of improvement, but ours, we are too conservative. We need to try to move out and then try to improve. Yes, I know that old landmarks are okay, but we can improve on them, so we can be able to widen our so that we can have data, and this would help our industry to move forward.
Okay, now moving on, talking about the banking industry, I'm going to say sometime last year, one of the directors in CBN attended a Beacon event, and he said, to the shock of everybody that was around, that at the time when they were pushing for this financial inclusion, okay, that CBN actually requested from NICOM that they needed data on the number of adult male in Nigeria that have insurance policies, the number of adult female that have insurance policies, and they couldn't get that data. It was surprising to some of us that were there. So in a market,
for real?
Yes, for real, yes. So for a market that you can't find
data,
that's data that is that simple, because I do know in Kenya,
yes,
in South Africa, for example, those kind of
these are countries that we presume
are publicly. So how do they move forward? You've said that it's expensive. We all agree, but how? As they say, if you say education is expensive, right. Because this industry, I do know, in my opinion, it has not developed much because of this absence of research and data in the true sense of it. So how do they move forward? How can they move forward from where they are now?
Okay, well, I will say, among others, insurance companies need to come alive. It is not too much if insurance companies should have a research unit.
Yeah.
Because if you have a research unit, you will engage researcher, for example. Even you may not want to engage, I said, you have one of your staff that you know is research inclined, and then you begin to, okay, let's begin to collect our data. Now, if each company have their data handy, and NIA or NICOM ask for data, there is something to give out. But where in-house, each company are not having their data. For example, go to some company, for example, you ask them, last year, how many insurance policy? No, they look at in terms of income now. As how many insurance policy, as in counting 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
What did you issue last year? Don't be surprised. Many insurance companies in Nigeria would not be able to tell you we underwrote about the insurance policy were underwritten last insurance year. Now, if each company could not have an in-house data, now tell me, if NICOM calls for data, NIA calls for data, how would they be able to provide this data? So I will suggest each insurance company should have a research unit, because it doesn't take too much. The same of you have just, even just one small place in your office, put it just there, research, maybe you want to put the marketing research unit, just someone is there. So when you want to data, let the person be in charge, get the data. So it means the company will have information about that, so that if company B comes to your company, last year, how many company policy did you issue last year? Yes, we have issued so. But if we don't have research unit or research department or research people in insurance company, we won't be able to get data. Another thing we can do is, I noticed that when I was in Switzerland, for example, some courses were organized, and I saw insurance company MDs attending the course from Nigeria. Those courses were meant for cracks. But you see insurance company MD attending such courses. Now tell me, what interest is that course to an insurance company MD? Well, if a clerk, you have allowed a clerk to go, the clerk will come back and of course by his level, because as an MD, you don't need it. But that's what you have in this industry. Now let us try to, insurance company really should expose the workforce. Yeah. Let the staff. When I was in the insurance industry, I worked before I went to full-time lecturing for over 14 years. I can tell you, it was only once I attended a course, and it was the last 2 years before I left the industry. That was the only company I spent many years there with course. I never attended any course. Now, for example, if you have been a staff for some years and he's working in your company, he has never attended any course, he has never met with other people from other places. How do you think the person will be more innovative? The person needs to be fired, because he will say that, yes, you need to, but he's just in here. The same thing he's doing. Everything will become monotonous. So we need to try to expose our workforce, and that will help us.